Hello everybody, I hope all is well at your end. Today we are going to discuss the second chapter of OB. We discussed in the last lecture the importance, definition and OB model. Today we'll be discussing of individual behavior, which is an important part of the organization and the behavior. First of all, we have to study that why is individual behavior important, and how will it help us to know the organization and the behavior of individuals, and why is it important for organization. We will also be studying some theories of learning and how learning comes in. So we begin in the name of Lord, the merciful and compassionate. What is individual behavior first? Individual behavior means how an employee reacts or responds in a given environment. Means that if a change comes in an organization, what will be the reaction of an individual? Or if a policy is changed, what will be the opinion or reaction? For organization, it's very important to know the individual's behavior, because individual is the top priority for organization. We do investment on our human resource and human power, which is an asset indeed. So for organization to know the manpower or the human power's desires, their ambitions, then on the basis of these ambitions and desires, the organization develop a suitable policy for their motivation. If we understand the the individual's behavior, so it will be easy for us to motivate them and easily. Some employees need intrinsic reward, some employees are motivated extrinsically, some employees are theory X people and some employees are theory Y people. So how will we understand it? Studying their behavior is what gives us this. Now we say, what are the factors that affect the human behavior? We can say there are three things that affect the individual behavior, and they are the person itself, human, and the organization. Why is it important to study individual behavior? So the concept of individual behavior is that it studies the individual behaviors to determine how people behave in an organization setting, the manner in which they communicate with each other, and also the understanding of their own behavior. Not only the organization understands their behavior, but also the person or the individual has to understand the organizational behavior. We said that there are three factors that affect their person, environment, and the organization itself. What is the need of studying or understanding the individual behavior? Some points I'm going to tell you. The first one is that it provides motivation. Secondly, it provides guidance. Thirdly, while conducting performance reviews, it's very important to understand the individual's behavior. To communicate successfully with others, one of the factors and the need is in understanding in the individual behavior. How to talk with a boss, how to talk with a manager, how to talk with a lower class person. So understanding the individual behavior is important. And secondly, while making changes in organization, so it will be easy for us to do or make or bring about changes in organization. Thirdly, it provides a learning experience. We can manage people and also figuring out problems before they arise. While you study the organizational behavior of an individual, so it will be easy for us that the problem before they arise, we figure them out. And lastly, we say that it helps us to maintain friendly relationships in the organization. One of the most important things in motivation is providing a friendly environment. Uh, what are the foundations of behavior? Behavior we defined before that. Behavior is the end product of interaction between environment and individual characteristics. There are three foundations that we will study in this, and they are personal, organizational, and environmental. In personal, we say age, gender, education, abilities, marital status, creativity, and some other. While in organizational factors, physical factors, organization structure and design, leadership, and reward system of the organization. And in environmental factors, economic factors comes, social factors or social norms comes, and political factors comes in. We say that people in organization are important. Studying of them is important. So the basic nature of an organization is understanding their behavior. Why is it important to study? As we discussed, that every individual is unique. So individual differences are personal attributes that vary from person to person. So so while they are different from one to other, then understanding them is a very much priority for an organization, because everyone is unique in his or her behavior. So how will you respond to him or her, or how will you make changes while you have diverse manpower? Individual differences may be physical, psychological, or emotional of an individual. So they can be physical, it can be psychological, or maybe some emotional. Well, what is personality and how does it relate to organization? So personality is the relatively stable set of psychological attributes that distinguish one person from another. The difference between the individual difference is that every individual is unique. Personality, while in personality, some relative they are relatively stable set of psychological attributes that distinguish one person from other. The big personality framework is there are 5 points in it, and they are called the big 5 personality framework. The first one is agreeableness, which means that a person's ability to get along with people. یو کس سره کم کولای شي چې بل سره ډېر اشنایي یا فیملیارټي پیدا کړي. د په څومره طاقت لري، څومره د اسانۍ سره یو چا سره چې دی فرندلی کېدلی شي، ملګرتوب کولی شي. Second is conscientiousness, which refers to goals on which a person is focusing on. How many goals at a time he is focusing on. یو سړی څومره سوچ کې د هغه فکر څومره پراخه دی چې هغه کولی شي چې په یو ټایم کې په یو وخت کې په مختلف objectives باندې کار کولی شي. Extraversion چې دی د level with a person's comfort level with relationship. د څومره آرام احساسوي د خپل ریلیشنشپ سره، د خپل باس سره ناستي، د خپل فرند سره ناستي، پیرنټ سره ناستي، د څومره چې د calm cool ځان احساسوي، د څومره چې د ایز ځان احساسوي. Fourth one is openness, which means that a person's rigidity of beliefs and range of interest. داغه beliefs څه دی، داغه range of interest څه دی، او داغه rigidity څومره ده، څومره د سخت دی، سخت دریځه دی، نارمل دی، افراد کې تفرید کوي، څومره غوسه کېږي دی. And lastly, neuroticism. داغه experience the emotions سره څنګه دی، anger, anxiety سره، feelings of vulnerability څومره ده، داغه چې دی کله vulnerable دی څومره ځان کنټرولولی شي، د کنټرول لري په خپل ځان کنه. Extroversion, here are some examples given. Means social skills he have, talkative, he should be assertive. Agreeableness means good in nature, he should be cooperative, he should be trusted. And conscientiousness means responsible, dependable, and persistent. While emotional means stability. Emotional stability means calm, enthusiastic, secure and tense in his nervousness, while openness to experience means imaginative, his intellectual power, and his artistically sensitivity. What is emotional intelligence means? It means how people are self-aware. How can they manage their emotions? How can they motivate themselves? If they can express sympathy or empathy for others, and they have to have social skills. Emotional intelligence means that a person should be aware of himself. He should know, he should understand himself. خپل ځان باید وپیژني. د خپل emotions احساسات کولای شي چې هغه manage کی کنټرول کی کنه شي کولای. یو کس د هغه خپل ځان څنګه موټیویټ کوي د یو کار لپاره چې دا کار زه کولای شم I can do it. او بل دا چې د نورو خلکو سره د empathy یا sympathy ښیي که نه ښیي، او دی چې دی social skills لري که نه لري، د څومره social دی د خلکو سره. که یو سړي کې دغه خویونه موجود وي، اگر ای determinants داشته باشه یک کسی، نو we call them emotionally intelligent. What is ability and why is ability important in individual behavior? If we understand the ability of a person, then it is very much easy for us where to locate him. که یو سړی د یو کس د یو individual د یو employee مونږ ته د هغه abilities معلوم شي، مونږ هغه کولی شو په رایټ ځای کې چې د هغه کینو یا هغه ته رایټ جاب ورکو. د یو د HR د موخو څخه هدفونو څخه هم دا ده چې یو سړی باید رایټ پرسن فار د رایټ جاب. نو که چېرته مونږ یو سړی وګورو چې د کې دغه ابیلیټي شته دی، نو هغه بیا مونږ په هماغه ځای کې ځای په ځای کوو. So by knowing how people different in abilities, we may use the knowledge to increase or enhance people's performance. دا غلطه چې کله مونږ په رایټ پلیس کې د هغه ابیلیټیز یوز کړل، یوټیلایز کړل، نو of course performance دا ښه کېږي. مونږ ته چې دی ډېر ښه performance دا لاسته راځي. Ability څه ته وایي؟ individual's capacity to perform the various tasks in a job. په یو جاب کې، په یو وظیفه کې، په یو کار کې د هغه کارونه یا ټاسک چې دی په ښه توګه سره د هغه ظرفیت ته ability ویلی شي. دوه قسمه abilities یو انسان لري چې یو ته intellectual abilities ویلی شي، بل ته physical abilities ویلی شي. Intellectual ability means mental activities. د هغه ذهني کارونه کم کولی شي. thinking د څنګه دی، reasoning د څنګه دی، د چا سره بحث مباحثه کوي، د reasons سره کم پیش کوي، او بل دا دی چې problem solving څنګه کوي، یو problem مخې ته راشي دی سره کم هغه هینډل کوي، سره کم هغه پر مخ وړي او هغه حلی. decision making څنګه کوي. موږ دلته اووه قسمه dimensions ذکر کړي دي د intellectual ability. Number 1 is number aptitude, verbal comprehension, perceptual speed, inductive reasoning, deductive reasoning, spatial visualization, and memory. We will be discussing here. Number 1, number aptitude means the ability to do speed in accurate arithmetic. ریاضیاتو کې د څه رقم کولی شي چې د مینج کی د ریاضیات ښه دي که نه، الجبرا یا statistic accounting د کې ښه دی که نه. که یو کس د کې ښه وي نو of course he is intellectually هغه intellectual دی، د هغه ذهن کار کوي، د هغه چې دی ability شته. یو verbal comprehension د هغه څه رقم دی، د هغه hearing او reading power څنګه دی، د هغه perceptual speed څنګه دی، د څه رقم visual similarities او differences چې دی هغه د identify کولی شي که نه شي کولی. inductive reasoning د څه رقم دی، د چې کله problems راشي یا کارونه کوي دی په sequence کې دی څه رقم دی چې دغه په sequentially دی دغه چې دی problem solve کوي که نه. deductive reasoning څه رقم دی، دی څه رقم دی تحلیلی یو شی او هغه بیا څه رقم implement کوي. spatial visualization دی، که چیرته دته داسې شی ورکړل شي چې دا شی دلته کېږدم دلته ښه ښکارېږي، یا که دا کار دلته وکړم نو داسې به ښه راشي. او lastly د memory سره کوم د past memories یا past experiences د سره کوم recall کوي سره کوم چې دغه د ذهن ته راوړلی شي. په جابس کې د ټولو نه مهم شی چې دغه پرفارم انټیلیجنس دی. انټرویوز کې موږ عموما دغه انټیلیجنس معلومو، موږ داسې سوالونه کوو چې هغه دغه ذهنیت او دغه عقل معلوم کوو چې د څه رقم یو شي ته ریسپانس ورکوي او څه رقم هغه مینج کولی شي، د څه وایي پکې. آی کیو ټیسټ لپاره عموما دا استعمالیږي کله چې موږ هایرنګ کوو، د هم هغې کې یو فیکټر دی. Physical abilities خو ساده خبره ده. You have to do physical activities. The capacity to do tasks demanding stamina, dexterity, swiftness or precision. Precision means accuracy, strength and similar characteristics. یو سړی څومره stamina لري physically، څومره کولی شي چې یو کار وکړي، 1 ساعت کار وکړي، 4 ساعته 8 ساعته فزیکي کار وکړي، د هغه څومره سویفت دی، تیز دی، کویکنس پکې څومره دی، یو کار څومره تیزۍ سره کولی شي. یو سړی کار کوي خو په هغه پریسیژن څومره دی، اکیورسي څومره ده، هغه رایټ کوي که نه کوي، سټرینث یې څومره دی، قوت یې څومره دی، دی توانایي لري که نه لري، او داسې نور کریکټرسټکس. موږ کولی شو چې ابیلیټیز د جاب فټ سره چې دی هغه ریلیټ کوو. یو طرف ته امپلایز ابیلیټیز دی، بل طرف جابس ابیلیټیز ریکوایرمنټس دی. if employees abilities if employees abilities are low, then the job requirements are high, then there is a kind of performance inadequacy. If the employees abilities are high and the job requirements is low, then organizational inefficiencies and there is a kind of reduce in the job satisfaction of the employees. We say that we said before that there are personal factors which is used in individual behavior. So the first one is biographical characteristics, and here we will be discussing age, marital status, gender, religion, and some others. Why are biographical characteristics important? They are inherited from our fathers and forefathers, and sometimes I can say mostly we do not have control over them. In physical characteristics we mean that related to height, skin, vision, shape, size, weight, and other. Age, why is age important in individual behavior? Because age it plays a vital role in it. Younger people are energetic or innovative, and they have good energy to do activities, and they are prone to changes, and they can be easily adopted to change. And while old people are rigid, they are not good with change, and they do most of the time absentees. They have weak physical activities, and they are also busy in most of the time in balancing and helping their family. So therefore it is important to know the individual's behavior. And secondly, we say the gender. Gender means male and female. Previously it was viewed that males have more capacity level as compared to female, but modern science today reject this and say that today females also have the capacities as male have, and they are working shoulder by shoulder with men. But there are some differences. Females get married, and when they get married, so they have more responsibilities as compared to males. Religion, why is religion important in studying individual? Religion plays a vital role in our region, in our context. We can't say if someone has this religion, if someone is Christian or someone is Muslim or someone is Jew, so his behavior will be like this and that. No. Uh, yes, if there is diverse type of religion in organization, so obviously it will affect the organization culture, but not we cannot say that individual behavior in religion affects the individual behavior. No, it will affect the organization behavior. If someone is more religious, so he is prone to ethical practices and he is honest, he won't do any dishonest activities. Lastly, we say that marital status is very important, as married people have more responsibilities, we said before, in gender, in age also we said. So if an organization wants to do overtime or late time activities, so who will they choose? Of course, the unmarried people, the singles, while they cannot hire those people who are married because they have their own family, they have to give time for this, while singles are most of the time free. And also single and married people have different performances. Singles will of course provide good performance, while unmarried will not provide that much performance as compared to singles, because they have lots of stresses, tensions of their families. Biographical characteristics, we also use race in that. Race is also a kind of factor in it. Most of the time in organization there should be no discrimination, but it is the nature of the people that people will evaluate good and help those who are the same race. We come to the learning and the learning theories. What is learning and what are the theories? So definition of learning is that it is a relatively permanent change in behavior that occurs as a result of experience. It means that there should be a change in behavior, and it will be as a result of experience. Two things we studied in this. It's a permanent change in behavior. It's not a temporary change. مؤقتی نداره. Change که از ایجا تغییر که از باید دائمی باشه. مقصد ای است که وقتی که ما در انسان تغییر میآید ای باید دائمی باشه و این تغییر از کجا بیاید؟ Of course as a result of experience, از تجربه، از training بیاید. It means a change in behavior attitude due to education and training practices and experience. Change از کجا میآید؟ تغییر از کجا میآید؟ as attitude, as education, training, practice and tajruba. It is completed by acquisition of knowledge and skills which are relatively permanent. Nature of learning means the characteristics, features of learning. Learning involves change. The most important thing in learning is that there should be a change, and a change should be, of course, permanent. We cannot guarantee that there should be an improvement in change. No, there can be no improvement in change, but there should be a change, and that is a relatively, maybe a bad change comes in or a good change comes in, but it should be permanent in nature. The change in behavior is the result of experience, as we said before. There are three theories of learning: classical conditioning, and operant, and the last one is social. What is theory of learning and classical theory? It was presented by Ivan Pavlov, which he conducted on animals first, and then he explored those theories on human, and today this is called classical conditioning, which means that a type of conditioning, it's a condition, a term, in which an individual responds to some stimulus that would not ordinarily produce such a response. It was done by a dog. Someone put meat or food to him, and he salivated that. Pavlov was initially interested in the digestive process of dogs, but noticed that dogs started to salivate at the first signal of approaching food. When food was approaching to dogs, so it salivated. On the basis of this discovery, he shifted his attention to the question of whether animals could be trained or not. Today, the training of dogs was the initial stage of the Pavlov. It was the experience of Pavlov that he did. What is operant condition? Operant conditioning mean it was presented by B.F. Skinner, who is a psychologist. It means that there should be a punishment and a reward. When there is a punishment and there is a reward, there should be a result and on the consequence of that. A type of conditioning in which desired voluntary behavior leads to a reward or prevents a punishment. Before the activity is done and you show them a result, a punishment or a reward. So this is called operant conditioning. People will most likely engage in desired behavior if they are positively reinforced or strengthened for doing so. Rewards play a very important role in human resource. Operant conditioning is also called instrumental conditioning. This theory is a learning process in which behavior is sensitive to or controlled by its outcomes. It is dependent on the result of an activity. Behavior is largely influenced by the rewards one receives as a result of actions. Action is done and then you receive the reward. This is called the condition. The condition is reward and activity. Example of operant conditioning is that a child may learn to open a box to get a candy inside or learn to avoid touching a hot stove. So what will be the reaction if he touches a hot stove? Of course he doesn't touch it. As a result, his hand or fingers will be burnt. In comparison, the classical conditioning develops a relation between a stimulus and a behavior. The difference between a classical conditioning and the operant conditioning is that it depends on behavior of and a stimulus, while the operant conditioning is the result and the activity. We here discussed it. In classical conditioning, changes in behavior are thought to arise through changes in stimuli. That is a transfer from an unconditioned stimuli to a condition. You make an unconditioned, then you provide a condition. While in operant conditioning, changes in behavior are thought to result from consequences, from results of previous behavior. What is the previous behavior? The activity and then the result of that. When behavior has not been rewarded or has not been punished, we would not expect it to be repeated. If they are not done, if someone is not motivated or not rewarded or not punished, then that activity won't be presented. Social learning theory was presented by a psychologist called Albert Bandura. He says that learning is not only in the class or by training. He says that learning can be done through observation and direct experience, sharing with people, being social. Before someone can learn something, they must notice or pay attention to the thing that is to be learned. For example, you probably would not learn much as a student in class unless you paid attention to information conveyed by them. It means that there should be an attention to the information we conveyed. If you've got any questions, please let me know. Thank you very much.